Hi everyone, good morning. Good morning, Anushka, Surekha, Bhakti, Madhav. Good morning. Please let me know whether my audio and video is clear or not, and then we can start the class. Good morning, Drifts Memes. Morning, Kirti. Hi, Six Sense. Hi everyone. Good morning. I hope audio, video, everything is clear. Just quickly let me know so that we can have the class in a smooth manner. Clear? Okay. Okay, so I welcome you all to the live mint analysis that we do every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Okay, fine. So we take up important news articles. We try to discuss the static portion of it, try to discuss in detail, right? Okay, chalo. So before I begin, if you want to download this YouTube class PDF, you can do it from the Oliveboard app. Just go to the courses section. There's going to be a separate YouTube class PDFs folder. You can download the PDF from there. Okay. I'll also share the PDF on my Telegram channel, Economics with Mannat. Just type Mannat Educator. You'll have access to my Telegram account. Okay? वहाँ पे I'll share the PDF. Chalo, so let's take a look at what we're going to cover today. Firstly, we're going to talk about buybacks. There's this 12% surcharge on buybacks and finance bill pass हो गया है. Lok Sabha has passed the finance bill. So let's see what is the meaning of buybacks. देन गवर्नमेंट रिटेन्स हेडलाइन इन्फ्लेशन टारगेट एट 4%. तो यहाँ पे जो आपका फ्लेक्सिबल इन्फ्लेशन टारगेटिंग फ्रेमवर्क है ना विच इज़ 2 to 6%, इसका इट हैड टू बी रिव्यूड फ्रॉम 2020 6 to 31, जो ये वाला टाइम फ्रेम है ना. इट हैड टू बी रिव्यूड फॉर द नेक्स्ट 5 years एंड दैट इज वाई we have got the details. Let's see what it is. Then we're going to talk about AI constitutions and where is India at over here. देन इंडिया आइज चाइना फॉर एडिबल ऑयल सप्लाईज. तो हम चाइना के ऊपर एडिबल ऑयल सप्लाईज के लिए भी रिलाई कर रहे हैं नाउ एंड वी आर गोना रीड अ लिटिल अबाउट दैट. देन इंडियाज कॉफी एंड टी एक्सपोर्ट्स क्लाइम्स. वी गोना टॉक अबाउट इंडियाज कॉफी एंड टी एक्सपोर्ट्स, व्हाई दे इंक्रीज्ड. Then we know that there is this 14th ministerial conference which is happening in Cameroon, right? The WTO meetup. So we're going to discuss a little about that. That what is India wanting and what is India putting forth. Good morning, Prashasti. Then now here is an interesting article that why the job market is tougher for men. So all we talk about is how women find it difficult to enter the workforce, how there's a gender pay gap for women, how there's so much gender disparity in the workplace. But here is an interesting overview that why the job market is tougher for men as of now. What is the problem? So this is going to give you a very different perspective. This article is going to give you a very different perspective and it is going to really enhance whatever you write in your examination and all, because you will get questions sometimes in the social issues part related to this. You get job market related, है ना? Then there is this, we are trying to revamp the Udan scheme, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagarik, and we have this 28,840 crore for revamping this scheme. Then there's this Supreme Court ruling related to social media. How will it affect big tech in India? We're going to talk about that. And then at last, MCQ. Okay? So these are the major articles that we're going to discuss in today's session. Let's start with the first one over here. Lok Sabha passes finance bill with 12% surcharge on buybacks. Can anybody tell me what is the meaning of buyback of shares? When we were discussing the budget now, when I took up the budget class, I had discussed this with all of you in detail. This was mentioned in the 2026-27 budget, and I had discussed what is the meaning of buyback of shares. Who is going to tell me quickly? Tell me in the comment section meaning of buyback of shares, because it's say related. There is this 12% surcharge which is going to be charged on these buybacks, and Lok Sabha has passed this finance bill. So basically, whenever a bill is made, it has to be passed first from Lok Sabha, then from Rajya Sabha, and then it has to finally be ratified by the president, and तब कोई bill बनता है act. And along with this income tax act of 2025, which is going to be applicable from April onwards. That is why we have this also, buyback of shares related also. When a company buys its own shares, a company buying its share back. Exactly. Very good. Prashasti, Sureka, very good. What is buyback of shares? For example, there is this company A. There's this company A which has sold shares in the stock market, है ना? तो shares आ गए अपने we are trading amongst those shares है ना जैसे Tata Steel and all. When the company is going to buy back the shares from them, company directly buy back. एक तो होता है investors are trading amongst each other and shares are floating in the market. That is a separate thing. But if the company only buybacks the share, है ना जो भी shares market में float किए हैं, if the company only buys back those shares, that is known as buybacks. तो यहाँ पे if it buy मतलब अगर वो buyback कर लेते हैं shares, so there's going to be a 12% surcharge which is going to be charged over here, right? So this finance bill has been passed by Lok Sabha. The aim is to reduce litigation, improve compliance, support businesses among these global uncertainty. Okay, so you want to support all of these businesses. So all of these businesses only take up these shares and all, है ना? So a flat 12% surcharge will be uh, put up on these share buybacks. ताकि जो आपका taxation है, it is simplified. If there is any ambiguity, that is removed. So अब एक proper legislation आ गया है that yes, 18%, 12% surcharge will be definitely charged. So directly in the MCQ, it can be asked. ठीक है? Earlier buyback proceeds they were treated as dividend income. ये हमने पहले भी we have discussed this before also during the budget. तो पहले इसको ना हम dividend income मानते थे. This was known as dividend income, the profit kind of income जो dividend आप income earn कर रहे हो. And that is why there was higher taxation on this. Higher taxation, approximately 30% taxation. Approximately 30% taxation rate was there for the promoters and 22% for companies. Can anybody tell me who are promoters? There are two words over here. We have a word promoters, है ना? There are promoters, and on the other side we have shareholders. Can anybody tell me what is the difference between promoters and shareholders? These are some basic terminologies of finance which you should be knowing. What is the difference between a promoter and a shareholder? If you've done finance, you would definitely be able to explain this. ठीक है तो पहले क्या था इट वाज ट्रीटेड एज डिविडेंड इनकम एंड अ लॉट ऑफ मनी अब नाउ दिस इज द बिजनेस ए दिस इज द कंपनी ए है ना इट इज बाइंग बैक द शेयर यू आर जस्ट बाइंग बैक योर ओन शेयर्स दिस इज एक्चुअली नॉट डिविडेंड इफ यू सी इन द रियल सेंस that is and that is why you can't charge a 22% or a 30% approximately tax on this so rather than this we have a 12% surcharge which is going to be charged. Owners of the company are promoters. The person who started the company own a large number of shares and some decision making rights, which is these things. See, the major difference between a promoter and a shareholder is that जो promoter होता है ना, he is the initial person who has started the company, है ना? Who has started the company, the initial documents and all. That is known as a promoter. Shareholders can be later on also. I can also be a shareholder of a company. If I buy the shares of the company, it doesn't mean that I was there during its founding of the company or its initial establishment. So promoters are there in the initial establishment of the company, है ना? And shareholders, later on they can buy the shares and all. ठीक है? Shareholders are also the owners of the company and have voting rights. Yes. Promoters are those who started the company, while shareholders are owners later joined. Exactly. So promoters are basically who have a role in the initial establishment of the company. Okay? These are some basics that you have to know. Okay? Now we have got the amendment to reduce any kind of tax burden, improve fairness in income tax administration, and they'll be effective from 1st April onwards. This is going to be effective when the new income tax act is going to be effective. Okay? Fine. So startup tax holiday eligibility threshold increased from 100 crore to 300 crore turnover. So startup जो हैं they don't need to pay taxes. They have a tax holiday. पहले what was the criteria that your turnover should be 100 crore. But now it has been increased to 300 crore. ठीक है? Fine. Government also proposed removal of arrest provision in certain tax default cases. मतलब decriminalize किया है हमने. We have decriminalized. You will not go to jail if you have done any kind of default. Civil offense माना जाएगा वो. ठीक है. तो buyback taxation, it has been a very contentious issue. ठीक है, क्योंकि इसमें डुअल टैक्सेशन कंसर्न्स रहते हैं कि क्या ये डिविडेंड है या ये कैपिटल गेन्स है ना। तो अब इस एम्बिग्विटी को खत्म कर दिया है। वी हैव सिंप्लीफाइड द टैक्स स्ट्रक्चर। नाउ देयर इज गोइंग टू बी अ 12% फ्लैट सरचार्ज ऑन। ठीक है, आई होप दिस इज क्लियर। ठीक है, लिटिगेशन जो लॉ एंड ऑल प्रोसेस स्टार्ट होता है उसको लिटिगेशन बोलते हैं। ठीक है, फाइन। लिटिगेशन इज रिलेटेड टू लॉ। ओके सुरेखा, फाइन। चलो, now there was this very small article over here, a very small one, wherein it is written that global recession likely if oil goes past $150 mark. So this is a very small article, and here what I'm trying to say is that if this war continues for a long period of time and oil prices cross this $150 mark, it is going to lead to global recession. See, what happens is an economy never moves in a smooth and continuous path. If this is the smooth and continuous path, or you can say the full employment path, there are always going to be ups and downs, right? These ups and downs or these fluctuations are known as business cycles. These are known as trade cycles, and there are different phases of trade cycles. From this article, I wanted to discuss about that. So if I talk about this phase over here, from here till here, है ना? This is your first phase, which is considered as a recovery phase. That you are on this lowest point and you are recovering from this lowest point. The second phase is this part. This is your expansion. When the economy expands further, unemployment reduces, inflation increases, jobs are created, then you reach a maximum portion, which is your peak period, or it is also known as boom period. है ना? When economic activity is at its highest. In fact, it is more than the full employment level also, and higher than the full employment level. So this is a sign that the economy is going to come down. That is that phase here. The fourth phase is considered as a recession phase or a contraction phase. When unemployment is increasing, deflationary practices are happening, and when you're in a downturn in the economy, economic activity is slowing down. Then you move, if recession continues, then you move on to the fifth stage, which is your depression, extreme form of recession. And a further extreme form is the sixth phase, which is known as your trough, which is the lowest point of economic activity. These are known as business cycles, and these are fluctuations which happen in your aggregate demand. These are fluctuations which happen in your GDP, in your national income, in your full employment level, which leads, and these fluctuations leads to disruptions in the economy. And this is inevitable. This happens. So just like in life, our life is never smooth. There are always going to be ups and downs, ups and downs. There are always going to be ups and downs in life. है ना? Similarly, in an economy also there are always going to be ups and downs. So if you're going up now, you will definitely come down. This is applicable in the stock market also. Okay, so what I wanted to discuss with you over here is that there are different phases of business cycle which are inevitable, and an economy never moves in a smooth and continuous path. Now there are different economists who said that why do these fluctuations happen? For example, Keynesian said that fluctuations happen because of aggregate demand, fluctuations in aggregate demand, and fluctuations in aggregate demand means we know that AD is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M, है ना? So Keynesian said that consumption is largely stable and investment is largely unstable. So most of the fluctuations in aggregate demand happen because of the investment scenario. Obviously, you don't need to get into all of that. I'm just giving you a little extra insight. But this is what is your recessionary phase over here, and we might see if Iran remains a threat even after the war ends, then we might see that this is BlackRock CEO Larry Fink who said that if oil prices increase so much, then we might see a global recession scenario, and global recession is not a good scenario. Yeah. Then government retains headline inflation target at 4%. So now there was this review of the flexible inflation targeting framework. So we studied in your ESI part also that what is this flexible inflation targeting framework. So if I talk about this FIT framework now, so prior to 2016, we did not use this kind of framework. After 2016, we decided under Section 45ZA. There was this under Section 45ZA, you should know, of the RBI Act of 1934. It was decided that we are going to target inflation, not one particular target or one specific extreme target. We are going to maintain it in a range. What is that range? 4 plus minus 2%, we are going to keep it between 2 to 6%. It can be as low as 2%, as high as 6%, not way beyond that. Okay? So you have to maintain your inflation rate between 2 to 6%. Okay? And so in 2016 till 2021, it was decided 4 plus minus 2%. Okay? And it was said that we have to review it after every 5 years. So in 2021, it was decided till 2026 that we are going to again keep it 4 plus minus 2% only. Okay. Then now it had to be reviewed for this period 2026 to 31. Again, we have decided 4 plus minus 2% only. Okay. So we have continued this range 4 plus minus 2% only. Okay. I hope this is clear. And after every 5 years, you have to review this. For flexible inflation targeting, RBI uses CPI inflation first of all, retail inflation, and headline inflation. Can anybody tell me what is headline inflation? There are two terms. One is headline inflation and one is core inflation. Can anybody tell me what is the difference between headline and core inflation? Anybody? Anybody? Yes, headline inflation is overall inflation, है ना? Headline inflation is overall inflation. Headline inflation is overall inflation, and out of headline inflation, if you subtract volatile items like food, fuel, energy, food, fuel, energy, and if you subtract these items, you get core inflation, right? So RBI uses headline CPI retail inflation to target this flexible inflation targeting frame. Fine? Yes, everyone. Very good. Very good. Fine. So we have retained the headline CPI inflation target at 4% only, 4 plus minus 2. And for the next 5 years, it will remain unchanged. We started in 2016, I've told you. And who decides this? It is basically the Monetary Policy Committee. Monetary Policy Committee decides this. There are 6 members, 3 from RBI, 3 from government nominees. है ना? ठीक है they are responsible for achieving this target. Who is responsible for achieving the flexible inflation targeting framework or this inflation target? It is basically the Monetary Policy Committee. So what happened was, prior to 2016 na prior to 2016, it was only the RBI governor which used to take all the decisions related to uh, monetary policy. But after 2016, we had this Urijit Patel committee which recommended that we should have a monetary policy committee, which is formed under which section? Who is going to tell me? Monetary policy committee has been formed under which section of the RBI Act? Which section? Anybody? So amendment was made, and under this section, which I'm asking you, a monetary policy committee was constituted. This is a 6 member committee. They are going to together decide so that we have diversity of opinions and all. That is why we decided that a monetary policy committee will be deciding. Yes. Section 45ZB. ठीक है, इट इज सेक्शन 45ZB, वेरी गुड। ठीक है, सो फ्लेक्सिबल इन्फ्लेशन टारगेटिंग फ्रेमवर्क इज सेक्शन 45ZA and section 45ZB is your monetary policy committee. ठीक है, it is a 6 member committee. अच्छा, tell me all of you, um, what is the quorum of MPC? Quorum means minimum attendance required to start a meeting. Minimum attendance required start a meeting. What is the quorum of MPC? These are some basics which you have to learn and remember. What is the quorum? How many members have to be present for a meeting to be started? Yes, at least 4 members, है ना? 4 members is the quorum. If 4 members are not present, the meeting cannot start. Acha, then what is the tenure? What is the tenure of all of these members? And are they eligible for reappointment? What is the tenure of all of these members? Total there are 6 members, है ना? Total there are 6 members. Out of them, to start a meeting, at least 4 members have to be present. What is the tenure of these members? For how long? Yes, 4 years is the tenure, and they are not eligible for reappointment. Very good. They are not eligible for reappointment. Acha, then how many times do they have to meet in a year? How many times do they have to meet in a year? How many times do they have to meet in a year? Are not eligible for reappointment. Yes, yes, 4 years. Very good. How many times do they have to meet in a year? Yes, they have to meet at least 4 times in a year. And if I talk about India, currently we are meeting how many times? Currently we are meeting how many times in a year? Minimum 4. Yes, Madhav. Currently, how many times in a year are we meeting? Yes, Bhakti. Currently we are meeting 6 times in a year, and uh, you know um, once in 2 months. After every 2 months we are meeting, है ना? ठीक है, तो 6 times a year. ठीक है. अच्छा, monetary policy report has to be presented. There is something known as monetary policy report. This has to be presented how many times a year? How many times a year monetary policy report has to be presented? There is this monetary policy report. Okay, this is not related to the committee meeting every 2 months, but we have this monetary policy report. How many times this has to be prepared and presented? Yes, 2 times. है ना? After six months, right? हाँ, 2 times. ठीक है? These are some basics that we have revised. This is very important, everyone. ठीक है? चलो. So, current inflation, if I talk about February, approximately 2.75%, which is well within the target. But there are risks because of geopolitical tensions and all. ठीक है? And supply disruptions from West Asia. So there is a trade-off that there's a risk to growth also, and inflation also might increase. ठीक है? Fine. So prior to 2016, we had a multiple indicator monetary policy, but then we used this inflation targeting framework, which is a better one. है ना? So inflation was very volatile. Prior to 2016, it was very volatile. It was high and it was in double digits. Okay, now this flexible inflation targeting framework, it aligns with global best practices, जैसे UK, New Zealand and all, and 5 year review structure रहता है इसका. ठीक है? Fine. I hope this is clear. Okay, so if I talk about why we do have this flexible inflation targeting framework, it helps in policy continuity, credibility, inflation expectations of households and businesses are taken into account. We have a clear framework and we have flexibility. So if there's any kind of supply shock, we at least are going to remain in that range only. Okay, I hope this is clear. Next article is related to AI constitutions, and where is India's seat at the table here? What is happening over here is we have global AI firms, like just we have OpenAI, है ना? ना होता था, आज पता चला बैंकिंग की प्रेप में सेक्शन पढ़ लिया, मेंबर पढ़ लिए, लास्ट टाइम वाली पॉलिसी के स्टैंड पढ़ लिया, बस इनफ होता था. हाँ, तो यू हैव टू नो लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स हियर, है ना? तभी ये रेगुलेटरी बॉडी एग्जामिनेशंस की तैयारी थोड़ी सी, इट इज अ लिटिल डीप है ना. चलो, ग्लोबल एआई फर्म्स लाइक ओपन एआई, एंथ्रोपिक, विल, दे आर अडॉप्टिंग एआई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. जो ये सारे ग्लोबल एआई फर्म्स है ना, ये एआई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. एआई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन क्या है? कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन क्या होता है? जो मॉरल एक ग्राउंड प्रेजेंट करता है ना, हमारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन प्रिंसिपल्स एंड रूल्स बताता है. So they are developing AI constitutions, internal ethical framework guiding AI development and deployment. तो ये internal अपने ethical framework बना रहे हैं guiding AI development and deployment. तो ये voluntary है, self regulatory framework है, it is not legally binding. So they are developing these AI constitutions. ठीक है. एंड प्रिंसिपल्स आर डिफाइंड रिलेटेड टू सेफ्टी, गवर्नेंस, एथिकल यूज, सोशल इम्पैक्ट. जरूरी था ये एआई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन होना भी जरूरी है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, एंथ्रोपिक ने पब्लिश किया 84 पेज एआई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. ठीक है, डिटेलिंग इट्स अप्रोच कि हम कैसे आगे लेकर जाएंगे, है ना. बिकॉज व्हाई आर वी डूइंग दिस? बिकॉज देयर आर कंसर्न्स दैट एआई इज बीइंग मिसयूज्ड, है ना. एआई इज बीइंग मिसयूज्ड, अभी भी बहुत मिसयूज हो रहा है, बहुत सारे फ्रॉड्स हैं, डीप फेक्स एंड एवरीथिंग. So we are trying to make some regulations and all. So policy makers, they are debating binding regulations versus voluntary commitments. अगर voluntary basis पे कर रहे हो तो उसका फायदा क्या है? पहली बात, कुछ लोग फॉलो करेंगे, कुछ लोग नहीं फॉलो करेंगे. सो व्हाट्स द पॉइंट? दूसरा, वेदर वी शुड हैव बाइंडिंग रेगुलेशंस या नहीं. ठीक है. सो ईयू, यूएस, दे आर एक्टिवली टॉकिंग अबाउट एआई गवर्नेंस फ्रेमवर्क. लेकिन इंडिया की अप्रोच थोड़ी सी कम फॉर्मलाइज्ड है. इट इज लेस फॉर्मलाइज्ड. आवर फोकस इज मोर ऑन डिजिटल इंडिया, इनोवेशन, स्केलेबिलिटी. एआई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से रिलेटेड वी डोंट हैव एनी एक्सप्लिसिट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन लाइक दैट. तो ये बहुत एब्सेंट है. शायद ये भी रीजन है दैट we don't have really that kind of indigenous uh, uh, app like chat gpt and all, है ना. हम बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, अभी उसमें वक्त लगेगा, it will take time, but maybe that is the reason. So rapid AI advancements, they have raised concerns because of bias and information, privacy violations, weaponization of AI. तो काफी ज्यादा negative sentiment भी है. AI जितना useful है उतना ज्यादा it is harmful as well because people are misusing it. People are misusing it. Yes, Sarvam AI. Yes, very good. We have Sarvam AI. We are developing it, but it'll take time, and it is definitely different from the other Chat GPT and all of these models, है ना. Now there's global push. We have EU AI Act, which talks about strict regulation. US is talking about voluntary commitments. Now there is a trade-off whether we need to focus on whether we should talk about voluntary commitments, or we should talk about binding commitments. Okay? Many people are using AI for creating photos. Exactly, creating photos, videos, and deep fake content. Right? Right, so AI Constitution is a company-specific ethical framework which defines AI design principles, acceptable use, safety, and all. That is what is AI Constitution, and there should be an AI Constitution everywhere because it is going to encourage ethical AI development and a responsible innovation. Hogi reputational and regulatory risks are obviously there, but we'll be able to manage if we have a proper constitution. We'll be able to manage such risks. Okay, fine. Yeah, I think in a diverse country like India, having AI constitution makes even more sense. We can see how easy it is to fuel tensions among communities with deepfakes and photos. Exactly, exactly. So that is what we are saying, that India does not have a framework as of now, but yes, we should have a proper framework in India as well. Okay? India eyes China for edible oil supplies to rein in prices. तो इंडिया इज इम्पोर्टिंग एडिबल ऑयल फ्रॉम चाइना. अब आप देखो कि चाइना इतना ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है हमारे लिए दैट इवन इफ वी ट्राई टू कंट्रोल आर imports फ्रॉम चाइना, अल्टीमेटली वी आर यू नो अल्टीमेटली वी आर गेटिंग बैक टू चाइना फॉर सम और द अदर इम्पोर्ट, है ना. सो अगेन वी आर हियर फॉर एडिबल ऑयल टुडे. ठीक है. सो इंडिया इज इंक्रीजिंगली importing edible oil from China. Why? Due to lower prices, cheap logistics. ठीक है. Lower prices, cheap logistics, these are the reasons. ठीक है. And retail edible oil prices, they have risen 10 to 15% in recent weeks because of all of these issues and all also that is happening, है ना. And that might even trigger inflation. And if you talk about India, India is the world's largest edible oil importer. Such kind of things you should always remember. India is the world's largest edible oil importer. हमारी annual demand कितनी है? Approximately 26 million tons. Domestic production only meets 40%. So we are heavily reliant on imports for this also, for edible oils also. We have a mission also, indigenous mission for edible oils. What is that? Anyone? Traditionally, if I talk about India, it imports palm oil from Indonesia, Malaysia, है ना, the southeastern nations. Palm oil and soybean on sunflower oil from Argentina, Brazil, Ukraine, Russia. China is offering competitive prices as compared to Argentina and Brazil. And again, I've always said that India always focuses on its strategic autonomy more than any other thing. And that is why it is beneficial to take more from China. So India imported around 14,963 tons of palm oil and 175,502 tons of crude soybean oil from China. ठीक है, and China is very near to us also, so it makes sense कि वहाँ से हमें खरीदना चाहिए, ठीक है? So our structural dependence is on edible oil imports because there is low domestic oilseed productivity. Our productivity is low in the country. Then limited land under oilseeds. So under oilseeds, there is limited land that we have used for production of oilseeds. We have national mission on edible oils. Na? Oil palm. We have this national mission wherein our focus is on self-reliance. So I was talking about this mission. Okay? So not that we are not trying, but yes, we are trying. But recent West Asia tensions and all, it might increase the inflation and all. That is why we are focusing on bringing in edible oil from China. Okay? Then we have a news related to India's coffee and tea exports, which have increased. We have seen an increase in coffee exports approximately 20% year on year. $1.86 billion का हमने देखा है coffee exports. Tea exports also increased approximately 11% to $934.9 million. है ना? Growth is driven by value added products. तो value जैसे हमारे पास instant coffee रहती है. When you prepare it in like 2 minutes, instant coffee है. We have packaged tea, we have masala teas and all. अब packaged tea भी आने लगी है, बस पानी में घोलो and you can drink it. In fact, पहले तो you might have seen there are tea bags also ना. Tea bags में फिर milk powder डाल के, that is one way of making. But now they are making a tea bag only जिसमें you just have to dip it in water and your tea is ready. And your tea is ready. So it has milk and everything inside of the packet only. So it's like a ready-made tea. So because of all of these products, value-added products, there we have seen a growth in coffee and tea. Coffee exports have remained above $1 billion for 5 consecutive years. For 5 consecutive years, above $1 billion coffee export. Okay? Which are the major coffee markets? Italy, Germany, Russia, UAE, US. You have to remember this. Major coffee markets: Italy, Germany, Russia, UAE, US. And major tea markets: UAE is the largest, Iraq, Iran, UK, Russia, China. Okay, remember this. Please learn it. Okay, India's coffee is shade grown, hand picked, supporting premium positioning. So हम hand picked कॉफी बनाते हैं एंड शेड में ग्रो होती है एंड इट इज प्रीमियम क्वालिटी. ठीक है, बट देयर आर रिस्क बिकॉज ऑफ दीज जियोपॉलिटिकल टेंशंस एंड ऑल कि थोड़ा सा इम्पैक्ट करेगा. ठीक है, फाइन. सो इंडियाज एग्री एक्सपोर्ट्स इंक्रीज, इट फोकसेस ऑन वैल्यूएशन, ब्रांडिंग एंड क्वालिटी डिफरेंशिएशन. ठीक है, coffee and tea are plantation crops and there's a rising consumption of ready to use beverages, इसीलिए हम ये कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, fine everyone. Then, then we have a small article over here that S&P Global raises India's financial 27 growth forecast. ठीक है, तो ये क्रेडिट रेटिंग एजेंसी S&P इज अ क्रेडिट रेटिंग एजेंसी. उन्होंने इंडिया के जीडीपी का जो फोरकास्ट है फॉर फाइनेंशियल ईयर 26-27, दे हैव इंक्रीज्ड इट बाय 40 बेसिस पॉइंट्स. ठीक है, टू 7.1%. ठीक है, फाइनेंशियल ईयर 27 के लिए 6.7%. Remember this data. So for 26, financial 26, we have 7.1 and financial 27, 6.7. This is S&P's rating for India. GDP growth forecast. Directly, such questions can be asked in the examination. You have to remember it. You have to learn it. You have to remember it. Okay? Okay, everyone. Directly in the exam, such a question can be asked. Then we have these two articles from different newspapers. India calls for inclusive WTO reforms at Cameroon meet. Ministerial Conference 14, India to push for trade, WTO reforms, and food security. Let's read a little about this. So, India is talking about reforms in the World Trade Organization. Quickly tell me, where is the headquarter of WTO? Where is the headquarter of WTO? Let me see who's going to tell me in the comment section. Where is the headquarter of WTO? Yes, very good. It is in Geneva, Switzerland. Right? World Trade Organization. So, India called for comprehensive, inclusive, development oriented WTO reforms at this 14th ministerial conference. Where is it being held? In Cameroon. है ना? ठीक है? And emphasize that WTO must remain member driven, consensus based, non discriminatory. That is what we are trying to focus upon. ठीक है? What are the demands basically? What is India demanding? हाँ. Yeah, some see JP Morgan has reduced there going to be uh, um some agencies which increase the forecast, some are going to reduce the forecast, some might remain at the same forecast, है ना? So we saw it in the one of the previous class also ki they have reduced the growth forecast. So everybody uses a different criteria, Prashasti. Everybody uses a different criteria to check out that how a country is going to perform. These are just forecasts, these are just predictions, and nothing else. ठीक है, तो ये predictions हैं based on how the economy is performing. So just because of different different criterias and all, that is the major difference which uh, uh, that is what makes the difference between these. Okay, Prashasti. So it is just because of different criteria that they use. ठीक है. So what are the core reform demands? India demanded restoration of a fully functional and binding dispute settlement system. What did India say? That we should have a proper functional and binding dispute settlement mechanism. So, if there is any kind of dispute related to trade, it has to be resolved in this dispute settlement system. Opposed imposition of plurilateral agreements without consensus. So, if there are multiple parties involved, then there has to be proper consensus in decision making. There should not be any forceful application. Then strengthening special and differentiated treatment provisions for developing countries. The developing countries should have a differential treatment, a special treatment as compared to the developed countries because we need more upliftment like that. You know? So, what are the priorities? Firstly, related to public stock holding, there should be a permanent solution for food security. See, basically, WTO is always scrutinizing us for our minimum support price policy. Why? Because WTO says that it is trade distorting. It is trade distorting. ठीक है, बहुत ज़्यादा ट्रेड डिस्टॉर्टिंग है तो आपको एमएसपी नहीं देना है, ऐसा डब्ल्यूटीओ कहता है. So, but India is advocating that we need a permanent solution for such problems. We can always keep being scrutinized for all of this. We need a permanent solution to this. Second, related to agriculture, there are long pending issues related to domestic support and safeguards and all. So, domestic support, may I hope you know that we have like subsidies like green box subsidies, blue box subsidies, amber box subsidies, है ना? So, WTO classifies subsidies into green box, blue box, and amber box. Green box matlab it's like a green signal. Go ahead, you can give these subsidies, no problem. These are not trade distorting, है ना? Blue box में wait, think before you give. If you want to give, but you have to remove them fast, and you have to you have to wait before you have to scrutinize properly. You can't just give in a free flow manner because they are little trade distorting. They are little trade distorting. Amber box subsidies are those like the red signal. Stop, do not give because these are very trade distorting. तो ऐसे करके there is this domestic support related issues also. Then fisheries subsidies. We need a balanced framework ensuring that there's sustainability also, and small fishers are also protected. Okay, then e-commerce से related digital trade. So India flagged concerns on extending moratorium on custom duties. कि custom duties के ऊपर जो moratorium है digital trade में, मतलब moratorium on custom duties मतलब कि इंडिया कि कि we might remove this custom duties on डिजिटल ट्रेड. तो इससे क्या होगा, इंडिया को नुकसान हो जाएगा, इंडिया को पैसा रेवेन्यू कम हो जाएगा बिकॉज ऑफ दैट. देन इन्वेस्टमेंट फैसिलिटेशन, that we need to have certain measures wherein investment can flow into developing countries. So these are the things that we are going to discuss, we are discussing in the ministerial meeting. Ministerial conference is the highest decision making body. ठीक है, तो हम WTO का गवर्नेंस स्ट्रक्चर पढ़ते हैं इन आर क्लासेस. हाँ, all those who studied from me already know, है ना. It meets every 2 years, once in every 2 years. And the first ministerial conference was held in Singapore in 1996. ठीक है, 1996 में in Singapore. And right now we are having it in Cameroon. And majorly the challenges are that the dispute settlement system is quite weak. There is a debate between developed and developing countries, and there's a huge divide between the two countries. Agriculture and subsidy conflicts are there, digital trade regulation gaps are there, so these need to be discussed. Okay, fine everyone. I hope you guys are understanding what's going on, right? Chalo, so why the job market is tougher for men? So it's very important, and it is going to give you a very different perspective and a unique perspective. And when you write such things in the exam, in your descriptive kind of questions, you can get something related to this, है ना? So this is a very unique one. So यहाँ पे लिखा है कि India's labor market trends, they show that employment conditions are worsening for men as compared to women. मतलब इतना stark change कैसे आया? If I talk about the female labor force participation rate, now it has increased from 19% to approximately 37%. यानी कि हम ये देख रहे हैं that women are entering the workforce, rapidly entering the workforce, and we are seeing an increase in that. ठीक है, अगर मैं women की बात करूं, if I talk about women, and if I talk about women, majorly they are getting into self employment practices. Self employment या फिर इनफॉर्मल वर्क. ठीक है, तो सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयमेंट एंड इनफॉर्मल सेक्टर में women are being employed here. Good morning अतिथि, how are you? RBI ग्रेड बी ऑफिसर आ गए हैं हमारी क्लास लगाने आज, है ना. चलो, congratulate अतिथि everyone. So he has cleared the RBI grade B 2025 examination, and now he'll be joining RBI. Okay, so let's continue. So we have the women, right? We have women who are entering the workforce, and we are seeing an increase. We are seeing an increase in this women workforce entering, entering the labor market. So, what are the reasons? Self-employment, informal, majorly in the informal sector and the self-employment sector. Okay? Around 24 million workers exited agriculture between 2017-18 to 2021-22. ठीक है, लेकिन I've discussed this in the classes as well. भक्ति पूछ रही है अदिति कुमार, अब क्या चाह रहे हो? लर्निंग नेवर स्टॉप्स अदिति, लर्निंग नेवर स्टॉप्स, है ना. इवन व्हेन यू बिकम एन ऑफिसर यू हैव टू बी इन टच विद एवरीथिंग व्हाट्स गोइंग ऑन, है ना. अच्छा, अदिति सिंह यूपीएससी, अच्छा ठीक है, ठीक है. तो अब यहाँ पे देखो, यहाँ पे कह रहे हैं कि a lot of 24 million workers had exited agriculture between 2017-18 and 21-22, है ना. they had exited. हाँ, उसके लिए भी मैम की लाइव मिंट इम्पोर्टेंट है, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. चलो, ठीक है, तो इसके बीच में लॉट ऑफ पीपल हैड एग्जिटेड द एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर, लेकिन 2021 में आई हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड विद ऑल ऑफ यू, देयर इज दिस कॉन्सेप्ट नोन एज रिवर्स माइग्रेशन, है ना. रिवर्स माइग्रेशन या फिर रूरलाइजेशन, है ना. यानी कि a lot of people went back to their rural areas, and because of that farm jobs again increased, है ना. So there are only 4 only 4 million people found non-farm jobs. Okay, so a lot of people exited. 24 million people exited from the agriculture sector, but only 4 million people found jobs. So there's weak job absorption. That is because the manufacturing sector is not yet developed. Underdevelopment of the agriculture sector. और हमने ये पहले भी देखा है that according to the theory of structural transformation, if a country wants to become a developed country, it has to follow a particular path. That is सबसे पहले primary sector को develop करना, then secondary sector को develop करना, and then moving on to the tertiary sector. But India leapfrog from primary to tertiary sector, leaving behind our secondary sector. तो ये बहुत weak है. That is why the secondary sector could not absorb around 20 million people were not able to be absorbed. बहुत स्लो जॉब ग्रोथ है इन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड कंस्ट्रक्शन एंड दैट इज द रीजन व्हाई men are not finding jobs right now. Quality jobs are limited. Even among the educated youth, only 4.8% get permanent jobs. Only 2% get white collar jobs within a year of graduation. Women earn less than men, yes, but the gap has narrowed among the graduates. And men are also finding it difficult to get into the workforce. And that is largely because the manufacturing sector is not able to absorb this labor. And most people in India are semi skilled or you can say unskilled. है ना तो सर्विसेज सेक्टर में दे कैन नॉट बी एम्प्लॉयड बिकॉज सर्विसेज में यू नीड हाईली स्किल्ड पीपल दे कैन ओनली बी एम्प्लॉयड इन द मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर बट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर इज वीक एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में भी कितना जाए एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर इज ऑलरेडी सैचुरेटेड we already have disguised unemployment in the agriculture sector. If you guys are, I hope you guys know about this. So बहुत uneven है. Our transition, our structural transformation transition is very incomplete and uneven, and we don't have quality jobs. Okay, women are entering the workforce, yes, but mostly in low productivity, informal roles, self-employment. So overall, only the job market is not doing well. I hope this is clear. So this is giving you a different perspective from the men's point of view as well. So that is why I found that data a little important. So you can use this that 24 million people had exited agriculture between 2017-18 to 2021-22, but only 4 million found the job, and so many people are now still in the informal sector. Okay? Then we have this Udan scheme. We want to revamp this Udan scheme. पूरे देश का आम नागरिक. So we are trying to make air travel easy, air travel more affordable through this Udan scheme, है ना? Through this Udan scheme, and now for revamping the scheme, we have around 28,840 crore. 20,840 crore has been approved by the Union Cabinet from financial year 27 to 36. So you have to remember the year financial year 27 to financial year 36. Please learn, remember. Outlay you have to remember. How much? 28,840 crore outlay. Directly exam में question can be asked. है ना? So what is the aim? Underserved regions को we have to connect these underserved regions by developing 100 airports from existing airstrips. So we want to develop 100 airports and 15 non-operational Udan airports. We have to revive them also. How much financial allocation? If you see this also you have to see because we don't have a program for men as such, Prashasti. So the self-help program, self-help group program is usually a program which has been taken forward for the women. है ना? So we don't have any separate mechanism for men to take that up. है ना? That is a major problem. Okay, that is a major problem. And SHG maybe if you at the ground level, if you see the SHG program, it is not extremely good. Only a few states have been able to do it really at a good level. And they usually involve like pickles and papad and all. And mostly women are good in all of this. Okay? And that is the major reason. So we don't have any proper facilitating program for men as such. But yes, you can maybe probably write as a solution. As a solution, you can add that we should have such things for men as well. Yes. Focusing government is more majorly focusing on women SHG. So this the entire structure of the SHG program or the self employment program was for the women only. है ना? ठीक है, आई हैव Sivakanth Vemana. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but anyway, I have, there are certain groups on Telegram. Okay, there are certain groups on Telegram. I'll share the link. I've shared it in my Telegram group also. So you can join my Telegram group. Just type Mannat Educator. Join my Telegram group. Okay. I will share the link from where you can have access to free papers, every kind of paper free. I'll share the link with you. So just join here. I'll share it. Okay. Yes, Kartike, you can not like the negative effects of patriarchy. Patriarchy in itself is a very negative sentiment. Patriarchy is a negative sentiment altogether. It is a negative thing, है ना? Wherein the male are the most dominant people. Women के भी, if women are entering the workforce, ना Madhavni, sorry, um Kartike, if women are entering the workforce, na, they are also entering mostly in the informal sector, and there is a huge wage gap. There's a huge wage gap. It doesn't mean that women are doing extremely well. Nahi. But what through that article, what I'm trying to put forth is that men are also facing the problem, a different kind of problem. But yes, they are also facing a problem in the job market. So now you can't differentiate कि only women are facing a problem. Women have historical reasons. Women ka reasons are historically generated that why they're not able to enter the workforce. Men ke reasons are recently because of structural transformation issues. There are two different reasons. Women have been historically subdued, women have been historically discriminated, because of which there is this problem, and men are not able to find the jobs due to a default in the structural transformation. Okay, that is what you can say. Due to the structural nature of the economy, men are not able to find the jobs. That is the reason. Okay? Okay, Karthik, I hope you're able to understand. लड़का भाई योजना but only for Maharashtrians. ठीक है, Madhav. Karthik, is that clear? अच्छा, तो we were talking about this Udan scheme. उसमें financial allocation, you can see that 12,159 crore for airport development, 10,043 crore for viability gap funding. Viability gap funding मतलब when government helps you with finance, है ना? Helps you with finance. ठीक है, तो गवर्नमेंट आपको फाइनेंसेस प्रोवाइड करता है थ्रू द वाइबिलिटी गैप फंडिंग. 3661 crore for 200 helipads to develop these 200 helipads in the remote and hilly areas. 2577 crore for operation and maintenance. So directly in the MCQ, please learn this. Directly in the MCQs, it can be asked like this: that out of the 20,000, 840 crore, 2577 crore is for operations and maintenance, like that. Ma'am, I meant negative effect by me for men anyway. I got it. Okay. What are the expected outcomes? Connectivity to 120 new destinations. So it will ensure connectivity, and passenger capacity will be around 40 million. It will give a boost to tourism, local economic activity, emergency response also. We are trying to upgrade the existing infrastructure. So we are focusing on brownfield projects. मतलब कि जो है already उसी को ठीक करना rather than bringing in new projects. This is the major focus of this particular revamped scheme. Okay, rather than building new greenfield airports, focusing on existing infrastructure. Push should be for domestic manufacturing. ठीक है, HAL, ध्रुव हेलीकॉप्टर्स, टॉर्नियर एयरक्राफ्ट. अच्छा, इसके साथ साथ में 1800 crore फॉर IVFRT 3.0 प्रोग्राम ऑल्सो, जिसमें AI, मशीन लर्निंग, बायोमेट्रिक ऑथेंटिकेशन रहेगी. ठीक है, फाइन. आई होप दिस इज क्लियर. Then will US ruling on social media hit big tech in India? Let's read about this now. So a California Supreme Court ruling, there was a Supreme Court ruling जिसने बोला कि मेटा, फेसबुक, इंस्टाग्राम, व्हाट्सएप, गूगल जैसे यूट्यूब, they have designed features that encourage addictive usage among children. जिस वजह से मेंटल हेल्थ हार्म हो रहा है, तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ये रूलिंग दिया that all of these social media platforms, इनका डिजाइन ही ऐसा है, they are designed to create addiction. They are designed to create addiction. ये ऐसे फ्रेमवर्क में बना है बना है जिस वजह से एडिक्शन होता है, एंड दिस इज क्रिएटिंग अ लॉट ऑफ मेंटल हार्म. वैसा यूएस के सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कह दिया, है ना? सो व्हाट आर सम की इश्यूज दैट देव आइडेंटिफाइड? फर्स्टली, एक तो जो शॉर्ट वीडियोस रहती हैं, रील्स एंड ऑल, इनफाइनाइट स्क्रोलिंग, यू जस्ट कीप स्क्रोलिंग एंड स्क्रोलिंग एंड स्क्रोलिंग, सारा टाइम बर्बाद. एल्गोरिथमिक रिकमेंडेशन सिस्टम्स, जैसे What is when I talk about algorithms, मान लो कोई somebody is sad, है ना, कोई उदास है, उसने एक कोट देख लिया. Now all of these social media platforms, they know how to use that algorithm. आपने कभी तो नोटिस किया कि अगर मान लो say your parents are fighting, है ना, तो on every social media you will have quotes related to parents fights only. आपको वही दिखेगा. मान लो आपकी किसी फ्रेंड से लड़ाई हो गई, यू आर फीलिंग डिप्रेस, तो आपको उसी से रिलेटेड सब कुछ दिखने लग जाएगा. So social media is designed to put you in that same frame of mind, in that same framework of mind, right? So that creates more depression, है ना? Quote link social media platforms to tobacco companies due to their addictive designs. So एग्जैक्टली आप जैसे सोच रहे हो, इनफैक्ट वट एवर यू आर थिंकिंग वही सोशल मीडिया आपको दिखाते हैं. समटाइम्स यू डोंट इवन सर्च एनीथिंग एंड समथिंग हैज जस्ट हैपेंड इन योर लाइफ एंड अल्टीमेटली ऑटोमेटिकली सोशल मीडिया स्टार्ट्स शोइंग यू दैट सेम थिंग, है ना? ठीक है. सो तो कोर्ट ने ऐसे लिंक किया कि भाई सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म्स आर लाइक टोबैको कंपनीज which have a very addictive design. तो फाइनेंशियल पेनल्टीज लगाई है मेटा के ऊपर $4.2 million, यूट्यूब के ऊपर $1.8 million. And the ruling sets a global legal precedent that social media is by design only addictive, and we have to have regulatory tightening at a global level. Now how is it going to impact the big tech business model? See, the business model is basically based on maximizing user engagement time. कि कैसे maximum जो user है, it is using social media. Data collection and targeted advertising is there. Now, because of this ruling, na, there might be a change in the design. Maybe the limits on auto scroll ki इससे ज़्यादा you can't scroll. Algorithm transparency हो सकती है. Greater compliance costs, reduced engagement, and ad revenues पे भी there's going to be an impact. There's a rising global concern over digital addiction, mental health impacts, and that is why we have this Supreme Court ruling. ठीक है? When we spend a time on particular real social platform keeps that record and similar content appears. Exactly, it's based on user usage patterns on the basis of which the algorithm predicts what you're going to think even before you do. Exactly. And so tobacco and these big pharma companies, they have a design induced harm litigation model, and that is same for your social media also. If I talk about the impact specifically on India, then India has a large user base. Facebook पे we have 403 million users, Instagram में 481 million, YouTube पे 500 million users. Around 14% users are underage. And that is the major issue. Government actions, they are saying that there's a proposal to restrict social media under the age of 16. There are some countries like New Zealand who have actually done that as well. States like Karnataka, they are exploring restrictions. US ruling may accelerate regulatory action in India. Stricter digital governance, child safety frameworks, digital India, and IT rules evolution. ठीक है? UK is studying harms of social media on the minors. Australia is considering implementing. EU is exploring stricter digital platform norms. So we actually need, so this was long awaited. We actually need rules for that because it is really creating depression like issues among young population. Australia has imposed restrictions exactly. है ना? Not New Zealand, Australia. है ना? So I hope this is clear, everyone. These were the important articles from the newspaper that I wanted to discuss with you. We have done a lot of static portion today. So, Asha, from today, basically from today's class, Udan scheme becomes an important scheme. So, on an everyday basis, we have at least one or two schemes in news. Please, I hope you guys are making a notebook side pe and writing. You know, what all schemes are important. Okay, so let's do a few MCQs. Then we'll end the session here. First question. Consider the following statements with reference to coffee cultivation in India. Karnataka leading production state. Coffee board headquarter is in Bengaluru. Coffee board functions under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Which of these are correct? Chalo, what is the answer? I'll share this PDF with all of you on my Telegram channel. Okay? So Mannat Educator, just type Mannat Educator. Will have access to my Telegram account. Okay? Hanji, so what is the answer for this question? Try to give the answer. Karnataka leading production state, coffee board in Bengaluru. Coffee board functions under Ministry of Commerce and Industries. Which of these are correct? All of the above. Kartikeya Singh, Anushka is saying B. 1 and 2 only. Anybody else? Madhav is saying 1 and 2 only. Bhakti is saying all correct. The correct answer is all of these are correct. So yes, Karnataka is the leading production state. Coffee board headquarter कहाँ पे है? बेंगलुरु में. Coffee board functions under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. ठीक है? Consider the following statements with reference to WTO. WTO established in 1995. Ministerial Conference, highest decision-making body, meets annually. 13th Ministerial Conference was held in Abu Dhabi. Which of these are correct? Which of these are correct? Which of these are correct? And this WTO, which was the previous organization, which was formed before WTO. WTO was formed in 1995 through the Uruguay round, है ना? Uruguay round. उससे पहले क्या था? Anybody? The correct answer for this is 1 and 3 only. एक तो 1995 में form हुई थी ministerial conference, highest decision making body, does not meet annually, once in 2 years. Once in 2 years मिलते हैं ये, ठीक है, every 2 years. ठीक है, and अबू धाबी था 13th ministerial conference, 14th ministerial conference in Cameroon. ठीक है, कैट, यस यस, ट्रिप्स नहीं, ट्रिप्स तो एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है डब्ल्यूटीओ के अंदर, है ना. पहले वी हैड फॉर्म्ड गैट इन 1948. बेसिकली क्या हुआ था ना, 1944 में वी हैड फॉर्म्ड आईएमएफ एंड वर्ल्ड बैंक, है ना. दीज वर फॉर्म्ड आफ्टर वर्ल्ड वॉर 2. दे वर डिस्कशन की ट्रेड से रिलेटेड भी वी शुड हैव एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. तो वी वर सपोज टू फॉर्म इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन थ्रू द हवाना चार्टर, लेकिन हमने वो फॉर्म नहीं किया, उस पर कोई डिसीजन नहीं हुआ. दैट इज व्हाई एंड देन पैरेलली अ फ्यू कंट्रीज हैड मेड दिस, फॉर्म दिस गैट, जनरल अग्रीमेंट ऑन टैरिफ्स एंड ट्रेड, which was only dealing with goods. तो उसके बाद काफी सारे राउंड्स हुए गैट के, and then finally through the Uruguay round we had this WTO formed in 1995, which and the ambit is very wide. So it includes GATT, it includes GATS, it includes TRIPS, it includes TRIMS, it includes SPS measures, है ना, all of these things. ठीक है, चलो. With reference to monetary policy framework, consider following statements. RBI Act 1934 provides statutory basis for implementation of flexible inflation targeting framework. Section 45ZB of RBI Act provides constitution of 6-member MPC to determine policy rate required to achieve inflation target. MPC required to meet at least 4 times in a year. Quorum is 3 members. Which of these are correct? ये सारा हमने पढ़ लिया है static में, है ना? Quickly tell me. 1 and 2. तो देखो, फर्स्ट तो करेक्ट है, आरबीआई एक्ट 1934 स्टैट्यूटरी बेसिस फॉर एफआईटी, सो फर्स्ट इज करेक्ट. सेक्शन 45 ZB is also correct. MPC is required to meet 4 times a year, yes, but quorum is not 3 members, quorum is 4 members, है ना. तो आपका थर्ड गलत हो गया, तो 1 and 2 only is the correct answer. ठीक है. Credit rating agency S&P Global raised India's GDP growth forecast for 26-27 to 6.8, 7.1, 6.7, 7.5, 6.5. S&P Global for 2026-27. सेकंड स्टेटमेंट पूछा था इंटरव्यू में, अतिथि ने बोला. अच्छा, सेक्शन 45 ZB का पूछा था. विच लीगल बैंकिंग कौन सी है इसके लिए? सो डिड यू रिमेम्बर अतिथि? आता था तुम्हें 45 ZB? तो देख लो, जो आप इसमें पढ़ते हो वो इंटरव्यू में भी पूछ सकते हैं. दैट इज व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से फ्रॉम हियर, है ना तिथि? चलो, ग्रेट इफ यू न्यू, वेरी गुड, है ना. तो ये आप स्टैटिक पोर्शन में पढ़ते हो तो वो भी आ जाता है ना. हाँ जी, 7.1 एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट. ठीक है, वेरी गुड. एज पर न्यू डीपीआईआईटी ऑर्डर, टर्नओवर कैप फॉर डीप टेक स्टार्टअप कितना है? 200, 350, 300, 350, 400. पहले 100 करोड़ था, फिर इसका टर्नओवर इंक्रीज कर दिया. व्हाट इज द आंसर फॉर दिस क्वेश्चन? Yes, 300 crore, right? So that is all from my side, everyone. I hope that this session was helpful for all of you. You can follow my Telegram channel over here if you want updates and all related to this. ठीक है, कोई भी PDF है, I'll share it over there, and कोई भी और class आती है तो I keep sharing the links and all in the Telegram group. ठीक है? So you can join here, and that is all from my side. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead. Quickly let me know if any doubt, then I'll end the session here. Okay, Madhav, Anushka. I hope you guys are able to understand and how to link current with the static portion. है ना? Okay, Bhakti, you're welcome. Have a great day. You too have a great day. Chalo. Okay, everyone. So that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day. Keep studying and have a great weekend. Okay, Atithi.